spent my first 15 years trying to get out of the woods because I thought it was horrible. And I spent the next 20 years trying to get back. The truth of the matter is we need to be well-rounded individuals like our forefathers were.
It looks like my music didn't work, so we're just going to go straight into it. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Mountain Readiness Monday. I'm your host, T. Coming at you live from good old Appalachia, the Appalachian Mountains, Appalachistan, which, by the way, is on fire currently. We currently have over 600 acres right there in our backyard that is on fire. So if you see me cut it short, it is because things are burning and I have to go take care of 300 chickens and turkeys and stuff like that, or just bail. It just depends. But so far, knock on wood, thank the Lord above, they have got it to, I think, 50% under control. Hopefully they get this thing knocked out because it is ridiculously dry out. Not enough rain. It probably has nothing to do with lines in the sky. I don't know. Maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't. Who knows? Is what it is. Remember, guys, like, share, subscribe, hit the little bells, whistles, all that kind of stuff. Make the algorithm gods happy with us. I would appreciate it. I see a bunch of people in the chat, and I know they are tuning in for our guest tonight, our awesome guest. Remember, this here tonight is brought to you by the Sovereign Health Summit. Sovereign Health Summit, October the 27th through the 31st. Our guest will be there tonight. A whole bunch of our clan will be there tonight. Friends, family, community. We will have Barbara O'Neill that is headlining this, along with let's see who else we got there. Jonathan Otto, Dr. Lee Merritt, Dr. Henry Ely. The list goes on and on and on. Pat Militich, Doc Will Spencer. Gear is just gear unless you got your health. Skills don't even help you if you don't have your health. So we want to bring all of that knowledge to you folks. This is a 5-day event. And we will be focusing on everything from soil to soul. Check it out, Sovereign Health Summit. Scan that code. It's good stuff. And don't forget about Mountain Readiness May coming up right around the corner. We are down to a month out. And, man, I'm just burning the candle at both ends. But I am sure looking forward to seeing all you guys join us again because it's going to be great. We're going to have a sheep processing, a chicken processing, full start to finish, guys. I mean, straight up, you are going to dispatch these animals all the way to packaging, breaking them down and packaging them up. A lot of events will do like little processing class. All right. But they don't go that whole start to finish. We're going to talk about raising them. We're going to talk about, all that kind of stuff beforehand, which is what we do here on the homestead. And then we're going to do the whole processing start to finish. So you're not just, cutting it up in big old slabs. We're going to break these things down. We're going to show you the different cuts. It's going to be great classes, not to mention all the other amazing classes. We have everything from hand-to-hand combat to night vision to thermal to homesteading stuff. We've got primitive skills things. We've got tactical riflemen out there doing classes, all women's AR class and all women's pistol class, just for you ladies. Why? Because as husbands, we suck at teaching our significant other how to do those things. And they don't really want to learn from us most of the time because of all that testosterone and stuff. So this gives you ladies the chance to come out and be a viable asset to your husband in case something stupid goes sideways, a little bump in the middle of the night. The last thing you need, guys, think about this. Do you really want your wife, who has not had the training that she should have, running around with a firearm in the middle of the dark if something goes sideways at night? Not everybody has a 3-time combat vet like I do. That if she pulls the trigger, it wasn't an accident. She meant to take me out. That's a fact. So, but hey, you guys, check us out, Mountain Readiness. And of course, we're going to be doing Mountain Readiness West also with Mr. Joe Dolio out there in Montana, Swan Lake, 1 hour from Glacier National Park. It's going to be awesome. He promises that we're going to be having moose sloppy joes. That's what he said. And we're going to be doing some elk breakdown. We've got a bunch of great instructors. Not only do we have a bunch of great instructors going out west, we have a bunch that are from that area that will be a part of it. And it's going to be a great time. So check us out, mountainreadiness.com. I was supposed to write down notes, and as you can see, my notes are awesome. Look at those notes, because all day long, I've been running around like a chicken with my head cut off. No joke, but that's okay. I could talk about tonight's guest, but most of you guys know who this guy is. But I will tell you something about this gentleman that for the past couple of years that really touched us, the strands of my protein genetic code. When you talk about this guy, he's done all the cool guy military stuff. He's lived it. He's a scout sniper, the comms thing, all the stuff. But what I like about tonight's guest, what I love about tonight's guest is that he is real. It doesn't matter where he is at in the status of life, financially, mentally, anything like that. This guy is as down to earth and real as it gets. And that's what I love about this guy. So without further ado, let's bring on tonight's guest, sponsor of Mountain Readiness, Mr. NC Scout. What's going on, brother?
What's up, man? What's up?
Same old thing.
Dude,
what's that?
Hey, thanks for saying, it's real. It's yeah.
You are, dude.
Hey,
no matter what, anytime I see you, anytime I talk to you, the way you act, the way you present yourself, the way you dress is, man, it is great to see people who are real, who care about what they do. Like you do tons of classes. I mean, you do tons of classes. You are always networking. Then with your spare time that you didn't have, you open up a storefront. You're in there all the time. Plus you have a homestead.
Yeah.
And I hardly ever I've never really seen you. I mean, I've seen you where you're like, oh no, like you need to check yourself, but upset because you're one of these people that truly believe in what you're doing and you care about people, and being a good human is hard to come by in this day and age.
Oh, hell yeah, it is. It is, man. I mean, I'm glad you held up a blank piece of paper, because I mean, everything I do is lit, live, and loud, man. There's never any note. It's people ask me too, like when we do the podcast, like, I haven't done a radio concert in a little while, but for a lot of reasons, been busy and everything else. But man, none of that's scripted. It's just grab a topic and go, and that's when you get your best content too. But yeah, dude,
or when it goes completely sideways.
Yeah, I mean,
especially if Chris is on. Especially if Chris.
Yeah, man. When me and Dolio were sitting there drinking bootleg, and I got a little too honest, and
it was a good time.
But hey, I went back and listened to that. First of all, I don't even remember leaving that podcast. Dolio was like, man, you told it how it was on there. But I went back and I listened to it. And I mean, that was what was on my mind. For anybody who didn't see that, I was talking about the American Airlines and pilot, Black Hawk pilot collision, and called it, I mean, I was saying what was on my mind. I went back and listened to it. And I was like, damn, I know when I'm fucked up. But I was real fucked up, because I mean we were drinking this bootleg that a guy had brought to class, and this was real good stuff from Franklin County, Virginia. And man, that stuff took me to the netherverse, but it took me to the upside down. But hey, look, exactly what I said was exactly what happened, though. That was exactly what happened. I mean,
and that's what it's about there, man. That's why, I mean, I think people gravitate to you, not just because of the knowledge side of things, because you got, I mean, when it comes to comms, when it comes to training, when it comes to world politics, I mean, you're spot on a lot of areas. And if you ain't quite there yet, you figure it out pretty quick. But I think it's just that down to earth, real shit. People are not real anymore.
Nah, they're not, man. There's a lot of fake shit that's out there, like one of these things, man, like Twitter, for example. Like I spend, that's kind of my primary social media means, because Twitter is pretty fast on the news stuff, and I like being on the up and up and stuff's going on. I tell everybody Twitter is like the social media equivalent of a Jerry Springer show that you're in.
Yes.
So just throw a chair at somebody, like as I see somebody talks out of turn and says some stupid shit, I'll throw a chair at them. I don't care. And I mean, that might rub some people the wrong way or whatever, but I tell everybody, man, I'll tell you that to your face too. I don't care. Like we'll do it. Hey, and that's the way it is, man. But I had somebody on Twitter tell me one time, what's this account about? And like, what is this account about? What are you talking about? This is me. This is a personal account. Like sometimes I'll put up whatever's on my mind. If I want to talk about commo stuff, I want to talk about radio stuff, then I'm going to talk about that. I might kick out a video. I might talk about a product I got in the store or something, whatever it is. I want to talk about politics. I'm going to talk about politics. If I want to talk about, trucks or whatever, hey, I'm going to be talking about that. And here's the thing. I don't give a shit whether you like it or you don't. Like that's the bottom line. I don't care, man. I got a crazy number of followers for whatever reason, but I don't like, that's cool. I appreciate that. But like the other day, man, I said what was on my mind about Iran and where I see all this going, man. I was a trigger puller. I was that guy in the dirt. I went to Iraq twice, went to Afghanistan, man. And I was trained to do all the things they're talking about doing. And I was the guy who was doing it. So when I share my opinion on that, we're like, hey, man, taking Carg Island is a fucking suicide mission. This isn't a good idea. You ain't got no way of getting water in there. All right. You ain't got no way you have no exfil plan. What's the strategic accomplishment here? And that is like 25%. And that is an optimistic outcome. 25% of your guys, if you're doing a drop on Carg Island, 25% of your guys are going to be combat ineffective when they hit the ground from injuries or midair collision, whatever, right? Whatever.
Right.
Landing in the water, landing on the runway, there. And that's assuming that they don't bring the whole place crashing down, man. So I share my opinion, and some guy under that goes, oh, okay, bye. I'm gonna follow you. Well, hey, you may go now. Yeah, I just tweet back at him. Hey, Doc Holiday, you may go now. I don't care. Who the fuck are you? Man.
Well, and that's
sorry. I don't want to see our guys who I care very, very, very much about. If look, foot needs to put to ass in Iran, all right, but you better have a way of taking care of them once they're on the ground. Getting to the fight is one part. Right. Winning the fight is another. And I mean, Sun Tzu said it best. Yeah, you have to win before you ever fire that first shot. If you win before the battle begins, then you have to plan around that. So I mean, anyway, it just
the bad part is here's the first thing that comes to my mind. It's your page. Like why can't you just say what you want to say? If you don't like it, like you said, there's the door, leave. I'll tell you a place I'm trying to build up my ex Twitter, whatever it is, because I was late in the game joining the club, and I screwed around on Facebook too long, because that's what my generation grew up with, was MySpace, then it was Facebook. That was it. And so that's where the following's at. Now I'm getting strikes left and right for no apparent reason. I'm like, okay, well, I got to start building somewhere else.
The censorship has started, man. That's the thing too. It's gonna go crazy. The closer we get to midterms, they're already starting, man. They're already starting all the censorship. Meta is doing its thing. We have a Instagram page up. It's got close to 4,000 followers on it, called Brush Beater Team. So anybody that's out there listening to this, go check that out. Of course, Kyber Optics does as well.
Yeah.
And but they're already doing it. Like anytime that we put up something firearms related, it gets squelched. That it's shadow banned. Like it's already happening. It's already happening. And the closer we get to the midterms, the worse it's going to get. But I'm going to tell you something too, man. And this might be an unpopular opinion, but right now you're seeing a lot of the MAGA people, and I'm an America First guy, but you're seeing a lot of the MAGA people, the hive mind, oh, well, if you're not down with having whole airborne battalions wiped out on a jump with no strategic objective, because we've never fucking done it before. If you're not down with that, then you're not a follower of Donald Trump. If you don't like Mac Levin, then you don't like Donald Trump. Like, look, man, this ain't no cult. All right. They got to earn my vote. They got to earn my confidence. I'm not a plan truster, man. You got to earn my trust. And I'm not seeing it. I'm sorry. I'm not seeing it. You roll up Maduro. Hell yeah. I've been calling for that for a decade. A decade in public. I have been calling for that. You want to put lights out in Cuba and free the Cubans because they're down there screaming for it. Hell yeah. Let's do this. Iran's a different animal, man. That's a different piece of the puzzle. Now, I'm not saying that Iran doesn't need to be dealt with, because they do, and they're proving why they need to be dealt with. But the way that they're going about it ain't it, and it ain't working. And at some point, you got to realize, hey, man, my plan ain't working. Don't go through with this. Don't make it worse than it already is.
What has happened? Look, I voted for Trump, but there is a reserve there too. Look, just because
4 times,
the
primary, and then every one of the elections since.
Well, and my question to everybody, because I get a lot of this too. They're like, oh, Trump, 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 Trump. I'm like, look, guys, number one, he's a man. He's not the second coming of Christ. Let's not get too crazy about the thing. But the other side of this is that if I do something wrong, if I screw up, I expect to get checked. You don't get a free pass because you're Trump and MAGA. And if you say something against him, then you're anti. No, you don't get a free pass. If you screw up, you screw up. And I mean, the Iran thing to me, look, I don't get deep into the world politics. But at the same time, I see prices just blowing up.
Dude,
I see
$6 a gallon for diesel fuel.
Oh,
you
yeah.
See that?
Oh,
Look,
yeah. Whatever happened, dude, I filled up a half a tank. I filled up a half a tank in the truck because that was 80, almost $90. And so this whole thing, whatever happened, here's something I want to throw out here. Whatever happened when Trump with his first term talking about the Alaskan pipeline, whatever happened to that? Why is fuel going up if we took all this oil from Venezuela? Why are we seeing these prices?
So I could go deep into it. I mean, I'm not an oil man. I've got friends who really know the ins and outs of that. I had a very good friend of mine who's worked in the oil business that was actually in the shop. His youngest son was buying a suppressor the other day, and we were talking about it. One of the things is that basically Venezuelan oil is very heavily sulfated, and the refinery process is more difficult for that type of oil. Not only that, there's other complications with the oil industry that people don't know, like the Eagleford wells, for example. Basically, that whole big gas field that's in West Texas, that's all Japanese owned, and a lot of that oil is earmarked for export. Basically, and again, I don't want to talk out of my ass on this because I just don't want to say wrong things, but there's so many pieces with the fuel industry that it would take something just shy of nationalization to really fix it for all domestic use, and which isn't going to happen. That's not going to happen. That's a non-starter for both of the political parties. I don't, Democrats will never do that either, because they're actively trying to turn Texas blue. They ain't gonna go for that, man.
I mean, am I wrong that I distinctly remember Trump talking about the Alaskan pipeline in his first term, jumping in that and start using that? I mean, where did that go instead of getting the shaft on the oil prices? I mean, I've heard nothing of it for 6 years, I feel like.
Well, it's just like the pipeline across Minnesota and North Dakota. I mean, when I was driving back from Montana just a year ago, all those pump jacks were standing still, going through North Dakota and the Dakota Access Pipeline, that all ground to a halt. They have made no progress on any of that. And that was a big point of contention with Canada as well. It's something that everybody needs to pay attention to. Is in the Pacific right now, every one of those Pacific nations are out of fuel or very close to it. Like Marshall Islands are out of fuel. Australia is completely out of diesel fuel. There's a crisis, and China is setting itself up to be a power broker on that. You're going to see the ties with Canada get even deeper, because that's the game that they're playing. And that's one I'm concerned about. And I understand the angle that Trump played with Canada, but I mean, I'm Monday morning quarterbacking here because, I would do it a different way. I ain't got a chance of hell of ever being president. I don't want to, because you ain't going to find me in the Epstein files or doing other things that Trump has done along with other presidents. But you ain't never finding me doing any of that. But
I don't think you'd make it the first week, to be completely honest, before somebody took you out.
They never. Well, I wouldn't even get that far.
Maybe first day.
They wouldn't. A lot of people might vote for me, but we've got Dominion voting machines, and there was no Save Act, so their votes ain't going to get counted. So that's just it. But
there you have
it. It's basically that's going to be one to watch, is the ties between Canada and China and Russia, because that's the thing, that Russia and China's ties are getting that much stronger, and Russia has halted fertilizer exports, gold exports, in terms of physical gold. They're still selling gold futures, but they're not exporting physical gold. The fertilizer is huge, and they're hoarding fuel. When you think about it, Russia is one of the largest players in OPEC, along with Saudi Arabia, Iran, and Venezuela. And that's why Venezuela was so damn important. And they've had that pushback against the petrodollar, or at least a barrier to the petrodollar. And not that long ago, just a couple months ago, before all this Iran stuff kicked off, the Russians actually kowtowed to all but abandoning BRICS, because BRICS was being set up to be the alternative petrodollar currency to the petrodollar. That's
Right.
That is what they were structuring that for. And that didn't they all but abandoned it. And I think that was more of a strategic pause of getting their butts beat in Ukraine. That's kind of ground to a halt. And now they're turning their attention to Iran. China's turning its attention to Iran too, and they know that we're getting hung up there. So it's a strategic quagmire that was really an unforced error. It didn't have to happen.
Angry says one of Russia's largest fertilizer plants was just hit by UKR.
That's
you know, and I can't say yay or nay on Iran. I know, are they an issue for us? Absolutely. I can't say if we should have hit them the way we did just now. I don't know if it's just about the petrodollar and we're trying to get everybody on the same currency and one world money system and digital currency, and who knows? I mean, I could go forever with conspiracy theories, but do you think that there is something to what we are seeing just here in the United States? I keep seeing, we had, what state was it that the oil plant had an accident and blew up?
Yeah,
right. Texas, it's burning. All of a sudden, I keep seeing across the United States, and this has been happening for the past couple years, is these distribution centers and foods facilities. Like we had one here a while back, I believe was in Texas. I think it was a Tyson, but they were doing something to do with a bunch of beef. It burned, killed a bunch of cattle. We had a chicken plant that burned, killed thousands and thousands.
Wildfire in Nebraska.
Wildfire in Nebraska is just thousands and thousands of acres that are not, they're now they can't pasture them. I mean, what's your take on that?
The way you look at all this is through an acronym known as CARVER: criticality, accessibility, recognizability, vulnerability, effect, and recuperability. And basically, when you're targeting an entity, right, you have a matrix of a target using Carver, and you score it, based on those factors. And each one of these, if I was trying to disrupt fuel operations and access to food, that's exactly how I do it. And you can use that, by the way, to plan a defense. And that is how I do it. Not only that, when you take into account, once upon a time, that is hard for a lot of people to believe. I was a sociologist, and I mean, people don't believe that. They think, it's some little blue collar dude with a beard. Like, actually, I have a lot of education too, but and taught for a little while. And I don't know what university would let me do that, but anyway,
none today, and none in this day and age.
None now. Absolutely not now, but once upon a time. But anyway, so another thing in sociology, we use a theory known as general strain theory, and there's a sociologist named Agnew who came up with it. General strain theory suggests that a social entity is always going to have certain number of pressures on certain segments of the populace, and in different ways. A lot of us in the preparedness movement, I've always been a survivalist. myself, and and that kind of gave way to the prepper movement in the 2000s. But we experience that pressure because we are by and large blue collar workers, blue collar Americans. We come from, if you look at Mountain Readiness, for example, and you just look around the average dichotomy of the people that are there, their socioeconomic status is going to be generally blue collar. And, you just don't get that many white collar folks there for a lot of reasons. And those reasons are mainly because they are very content where they are. They feel a different type of stress. They did feel a different type of strain. And when you have that general strain theory, which is applying pressure to people, the blue collar existence in America experiences it, well, across the world in any populace, but in America, bringing it home, we experience it in terms of economic strain and food strain. And we're the ones who go to the grocery store and we're actually looking at the prices of things. People who are higher socioeconomic status don't generally look at the price of stuff. They just throw things in the basket and it costs what it costs. But
right.
When you have people who are by and large, they price everything based on the labor that it takes per hour because they're hourly employees by and large. And so when they start looking at the price of beef, for example, a good friend of mine came in the shop over the weekend. He just went to a cattle sale down in Siler City, and Angus on the hoof is bringing $6 a pound, which is absolutely wild.
Insane.
Absolutely wild. And I'm telling y'all, that is a warning sign, by the way. All of the guys that are raising cows out there, myself included, which I didn't take any to sale because I don't need to. But I want to keep all I've got for myself. I'm not selling them. But $6 a pound is absolutely unheard of. That's about double the value of what it is on average. And so what does that mean? That means that the price of beef is going to skyrocket. Because
it already has started. I mean, we even looked into, we buy a half a beef. We don't raise beef cattle here because any cattle that would be here at this property would have two short legs standing on the side of a hill. That we're just too steep. So chickens as far as it goes, but a half a beef, we just checked because we're starting to get low on the beef side of things. Almost, it's over tripled in price since last year, because a half a beef lasts us about a year, and blew my mind. I was like, good night, man. I don't even know. And that's, of course, you're getting a better price buying a half a beef like that. If you put that into the price of going to Wally World or something like that, now you're, quadruple or better that price.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that comment right there about 5-day-old Angus calf, $1,700 a piece.
Good.
I mean,
night.
even like dairy cows just bringing outrageous prices. And dairy cows normally don't bring much of anything because people don't really want them. You can't do much with them other than put them in a milking parlor. But talking about general strain theory though. Sorry. With general strain theory, we all feel it, and you feel those pressures. And what does that have to do with what we were talking about? When a targeted populace begins to feel that strain in a heavier way, right? And it starts to get more and more and more. And now people are beginning to question, well, I can't basically, and we're already seeing it in the younger generations. I mean, I'm a millennial. I saw that lady who was asking how old I am. I am the very
old enough to know better.
Yeah, I'm very late Gen X, very early millennial.
And by the way, that's Mel. That's Mel Weatherman is who that is. She had to change her.
I should have known.
You should have known. You should have known who that is.
Anyway, how old is he? No,
Yeah, what is that guy?
No, so cats are free to taste like eagle. Oh, anyway, when you've got people who the younger generations, they're already experiencing this, and it's sociologically, it's an interesting phenomena because you've got the younger generations who are pointing out the fact that, I may not ever be able to buy a home. I may not
No.
ever be able to afford a vehicle, and vehicles are another thing. I mean, used cars, the used car market is absolutely diabolical, and
Oh my
it's by
gosh.
design. I mean, cash for clunkers is exactly what did that.
Oh, and
You
there's, let's even touch on that. I don't know if everybody here in the comments remember that, but I can tell you, Cash for Clunkers, you want to talk about a way to pull all the decent vehicles, not only off the market, because I remember I know guys at the scrapyard who were liquid glass in all the engines, because you couldn't sell anything. And then you took all those old good steel vehicles, all that steel got pitched over to China and Japan. They bought it all up. Indian's another one. And so now all the good steel went overseas on top of taking all those. I saw an 85 or 86 square body with a price tag of almost 20 grand on it, sitting at I almost had a heart attack. I mean, I was picking them up for, $1,000 when I was a youngster, and in good shape, shape.
And if you were driving a square body, you weren't cool.
No, that's as good as it gets.
We had my daddy had a 1987 Silverado, and it was in great shape. And he ended up selling it, but I think about it, when I started driving, that truck was only 11 years old. And I think about it now, a truck I drove up here tonight to the shop is older than that now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn. And that was like an old truck back then,
Oh yeah.
it didn't bring hardly nothing when he sold it. And it just,
I feel bad. I feel bad for this next generation. I was talking to my wife Amber about this, and Amber is pretty coarse, but I'm like, no, think about this, man. When we were teenagers, like most of us had work ethic and we could make some money. I mean, even at a young age, I had to work hard, but I could still make ends meet. And now we just had to get another vehicle because the old car is starting. And my wife, she loves the Toyota Tundras. Good night. I'm like, I ain't buying one new because that's just, you might as well buy a house. And there she is now giving me all them dots. You know what I'm talking about, woman. Don't worry about it. I said it was fine.
It's a way to subsidize United Auto Workers too.
Yeah. Yep.
What it is.
But I feel bad for these young
loan industry. I mean, people are able to finance a vehicle for 82 months now.
I saw that.
Months. That
damn
car ain't
your life
worth nothing when you're done with it.
Your life's half over by the time you pay it off.
Yeah, they don't care about it. And people get normalized to being a debt slave. Like they don't pay it that off. Get it out of here.
Oh my gosh. Just I'm sick of just looking at the interest on the mortgage here on the house. Man, just for the past 10 years, seeing what we paid in, because they get theirs up front. You know how that goes. And it is just disturbing. This thing would have already been paid off, but nope, you got to pay the man. So, and they put you in that position. You're stuck if you want anything, and you ain't got the cash to throw down. You're stuck in the whole usury system.
Yeah, and people don't have the capital to be able to pay it off. So you've got it for that amount of time, but the warranty on it. Oh yeah, finance and DoorDash.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah.
You can find. You gotta know.
That
You
is
can
the
finance
stupidest damn
DoorDash.
thing you can do.
Oh my gosh, that
That
blows my
is
mind.
financing
Holy
DoorDash
cow.
is and that when I found out about that, that blew my mind.
I didn't know about it until just now. I didn't even know that was a thing.
But you know, I saw Amber chimed in there. Things are hard for us too. Difference. We work multiple jobs on valuable skill. Absolutely. And I'm gonna say something too that might be unpopular in certain markets. You know, a lot of older folks like to shit on the younger folks. The younger folks like to shit on the older folks. This is kind of how it goes. So it's the tale as old as time, man. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you something. Do not older folks out there 40 and up, don't discount the younger generation just based on what you see on social media. I'm gonna tell you that. I'm gonna tell everybody a little bit about my business. I've got my employees, other than my sister-in-law. My sister-in-law runs the shipping department, so you know everything that leaves here in a box is packed by either me or her, and you know mostly by her. But my guys that are working in the shop that are dealing with the customers, the oldest one of them is 27.
Yes.
The oldest one is 27. And you want to talk about hard working? I'm talking hard working. They all three of them, you know, and two of them I handpicked because they were students of mine and I knew their work ethic.
Right.
I knew their work ethic coming in there. I saw them. One of them, you know, he worked full time while he was a full time student and then went to basic law enforcement training and was a cop on top of two side jobs on top of that. And then, you know, figured out a couple years into it that, you know, being a cop wasn't necessarily the life path he wanted to be on because it was a financial thing with him and his wife and time commitment. And, you know, I was able to pull him away from that. These guys are constantly looking for things to do. One of my other guys that works in here that runs all the social media stuff. And, you know, when you check us out on YouTube, that's all his stuff. I stand in front of the camera. I might do a few things. He's out shooting guns, doing, you know, when I ain't got time to get, you know, do all the stuff. And he's sitting there video editing. He's in full-time paramedic school, full-time, and working full-time here and running classes
Very cool.
He just had a class this past weekend. So look, these guys are working their ass off. It's you know, it isn't necessarily what people think it is. There's a lot of the liberal kids get online and they bitch and they moan, whatever. You just laugh at them because they're stupid. And they really were raised with a silver spoon in their mouth. But a lot of people in younger generations were too, and you know, it's that work ethic wasn't lost on the youth. You just don't see it. That's you're not seeing it because either you work in a position where you're not interacting with it, or you're only consuming what you see on social media.
Right.
And
I think there is less youth personally from working in the heavy truck and trailer repair business. But I think it's there's less that are willing to do the hardcore work. Like, you know, when I was a kid, when I was young, it was like, man, I'd drink you dirty bath water for the right amount of money. You know, I mean, that's how it was. But, you know, and now there's not as much of that.
Buddy. You did that because somebody said there was some liquor in it. That's why
I mean, don't let it get out. Don't let it get out. Keep that on low down. Yeah. But, you know, I think there is something to do with the type of work too, you know, but I had some young guys working for me that were go-getters. They were not as, They were not very prevalent. There's no doubt about that. The majority was just give me a paycheck, do the bare minimum, and go home. But they do still exist, and I have high hopes that as time goes on, they'll start coming around more and more. We'll see. But I will tell you something that, you were talking about X a little bit earlier, and people on there just running those sucks. Look, I saw a bunch of
Springer show. If you just realize it is the social media Jerry Springer show, and if you just get out there and you throw a chair at somebody, then it's so much fun. And look, they'll come up, they'll put comments in like, "Oh, you must be really angry about this." Like, look, no, I'm sitting here laughing at you. I'm laughing at you. And then I'm going to quote what you say, and I'm going to say the snarkiest shit back to you, knowing that you're going to get mad about it. And then I'm going to watch all the other people get mad about it. I'm going to make fun of them too. That's just what it is, and I don't care.
I screwed up though. I saw something on media about advertising on Reddit. So I get a Reddit account. Look here, bro. Reddit is the wild, wild west. I shit you not. There is the craziest stuff. I go down the list. Homesteading, there's these different pages. There's homesteading, there was prepping, there was survival. So I just, join all these pages that have to do with, I post a video about how you should know where your food comes from. All the stuff going on in the world today. I'm like, and the video was me with in my brooder with my little baby chicks. I was like, hey, look, guys, this is important. You should be doing this. Son, 90,000 views in 2 days. 90% of the comments was kill yourself. You're a piece of garbage. Like, how dare you say, I did not know there was that many blue-haired living in their mom's basement mouth breathers in the world. They're all on Reddit. They're all on Reddit. I'm just going to tell you that right now. And it's scary.
Reddit is the worst human beings that you have ever encountered in person in your life. So go to a truck stop and just hang out and watch the people that just go and hang out at truck stops and just like sit in your truck and just watch them.
Yeah.
And like weirdos and tweakers.
Yeah. I can tell you that Reddit people, even though it said homesteading, they aren't homesteaders. I'm going to tell you that right now. Yeah. They were down there at the No Kings March and all these bunch of places, every single one of them. I didn't have the chance to look into this, but I want to know how many people are on Reddit. Like, is that what the population looks like now of the inner city it was disturbing. The people, the comments, I had like 300 comments in 2 days, basically, everything from, you're a complete Trump-tard piece of garbage, and I never even mentioned Trump. All I said, grow your own food because it's important. Man, it was the end of the world to these people.
Well, yeah. And that's just Reddit, man. Like that's what's there. That's what exists there. So get on Twitter and look up Reddit Lies.
Reddit Lies.
I'm gonna write that down. Called Reddit Lies. And just watch the fun, man. Just watch the fun. It basically all sorts of shit that people shouldn't say in public. Like,
and they do
those stories they really ought to not say in public. They put it up there. Like, they have no shame,
dude.
Like, man, I walked in and my wife was in a gangbang, and I don't know how I felt about that. Like, there's all kinds of shit like that. Yeah, that's what they put up. That's what
Russ
they put up.
Russ said, Russ just threw up here 2025.
You don't get an ounce of testosterone.
Absolutely not.
A sample size of 10,000 of those motherfuckers. Okay?
You cannot. Oh, yeah. I even had a guy get on there. He commented. He's like, hey, look, man, you could tell he was not them. He said, anything to do with testosterone, you can't say it here on Reddit. And I said, I
It's
give not a
true.
shit. And so
It's true.
but Russ just pulled the numbers. As of 2025, third quarter, Reddit has approximately 116 million daily active users. 116 million daily active users. And I'm telling you, every single one of them, 99% of those are not worth talking to. I can tell you that. I found that out just in the past couple of days. It was scary. I can't believe it's that many people, though.
You know, don't go to Taco Bell. I tell everybody that. Don't go to Taco Bell.
Not at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, especially.
No, never. Look,
Never.
sit in the parking lot. I just said this twice now. Sit in the parking lot, watch a truck stop. It's what I do. This is a basic survival skill. You pull into a place, always back in. Never pull right up to the door. Always back in.
Right.
Always back in the back of the parking lot. And look
Combat
around.
Park.
That's right. Look around before you go in and take in the flora and fauna of, read the room a little bit. And if you watch Taco Bell, you're going to see, I saw somebody put up a comment about Walmart. There's strong overlap between the two. I ain't been to a Walmart in like a year.
Wally World. Yeah, I see Wally World. It's not quite as good as it used to be, but it's still decent.
But Taco Bell is where you're going to see Cookie Monster stretchy pants. It looks like a sack of potatoes in a girl's pants.
Mashed taters. Mashed taters is what that is.
Hair, Nightmare Before Christmas zip up sweatshirts in the middle of the summer. The greasy fucking hair from a gaming chair. They've been glued to a gaming chair and they ain't got out of it in 2 weeks. Yeah, and they're consuming a steady diet at Taco Bell. And when you go and you watch it, and tell me I'm wrong.
You're not wrong.
Watch those people. You don't want to be one of those people. You don't want to be one of those people. So don't go to Taco Bell. Don't go to Taco Bell and look, and you'll see. And they work there too. It's the same people that work. You don't want them touching your food, man. They just touch their ass. They got fecal matter in their fingernails. You don't want that shit.
I know. I can tell you the bathroom alone is enough to tell you not to eat there.
No.
Go in there and check that out, because they ain't looking at that sign that's covered in crust that says employees must wash their hands. They ain't doing it. Just telling you that right now.
For you. That's there to suggest to you that they do it. Then you go to the manager and you're like, holy shit, he's worse than they are.
Man, I was feeling a chalupa. Yo quiero Taco Bell.
No, you ever seen that video of Taco Bell meat at the distribution site? They had rats on it.
Yeah. Yep, crawling around on it and stuff.
Man,
so let's throw this out here, because I mean, no matter what side of the fence you're on with the Iran thing, and I heard this right, that everything's ported over there and not rolling because of the insurance companies, and the whole world insurance companies run the world. We all know that.
I can't imagine I know what the insurance is on a 5,000 square foot warehouse with a gun store in it.
Right.
So
think about one of them barges.
On a
Lloyd's of London
hauler.
Lloyd's of London put the smack on everybody for them things. But no matter what you think about Iran, it is here. It is happening. So, we've been in the preparedness thing for years. You grew up, if I remember correctly, your family not only just homestead, but you had the greenhouses. I mean, you guys was growing food. You was making ends meet. What does people need to be expecting? What do they need to be backing up in their preps right at this point?
I would say, for anybody in the audience that remembers the Jimmy Carter administration, it's going to look like that. It's going to look. I see this summer. I see gas rationing happening. That's already happening in other parts of the world. If we stay on the current trajectory. You always got to throw that qualifier out there. If we stay on the current trajectory. I see that happening. Here's the thing, you can't build a refinery overnight. You can't
No.
repair a refinery overnight. You can't do any of these things overnight. That was the thing with the tariffs was, everybody was saying, oh, tariffs are a good thing. And I don't really care what anybody thinks about it. Proof's in the pudding. And that cost got passed on to you, whether you like it or not. That's what happened.
Yep.
I just like I said, I told everybody it was going to happen. Oh, this is going to be great. I don't know. And here it is. It got passed on to you, but and you ain't seen any payback for that. And won't,
Nope.
But the thing is that if you want to repatriate American industry, which we should be doing, right? And that was the core argument everybody was talking about. It was good about tariffs, was that it was going to spur repatriation of industry. Well, I'm here for that. Like, yeah, we need to be doing that, man. We need, I grew up when, in the 90s with NAFTA. NAFTA really was, Pat Buchanan put it best, about how exactly what was going to happen with NAFTA. And that is exactly what happened. We saw it in Danville, Virginia, Greensboro, North Carolina, Burlington, North Carolina. I mean, all those industries went right out the door and they went straight overseas, and
Yes.
that we saw that. Well, you don't bring all that back in a vacuum overnight. It doesn't happen. There's a lot of things that you have to do, and a corporation has to have a 10-year plan. Okay. They have to have economic incentive to do this, and they have to have a 10-year, very stable economic plan to be put in place. And when you have the EPA that's putting a stranglehold on everything, when you have OSHA that puts a stranglehold on everything, and no, I'm not saying that we need to be polluting the environment or that we don't have to be concerned with worker safety. Anybody that's ever worked in a field where the EPA was breathing down everybody's neck knows exactly what I'm saying here. Anybody that's ever worked in a field where OSHA was breathing down everybody's neck knows what I'm saying. You have to give some guarantees there, and there has to be some tax incentive there as well. And you can see a growth in American industry and a rebirth in American industry, and you will. That's a positive outcome, but it has to be 10 years. It has to be beyond one administration and going into the next. And I'm sorry, a lot of investors are looking at it like, well, we don't know if the Trump era plans are going to last, because what's the midterms going to look like? What is 2028 going to look like and beyond? We don't know. So as soon as you start soaking, the banks for tens of millions of dollars to bring back, X industry, all right, that's cool and all, but who's going to get left holding the bag if all of that stuff gets null and void? And then all of a sudden overseas manufacturing comes back into vogue, which it will. What are you going to do then, man? That's the thing, is that certain industries can certainly repatriate things. But there's certain industries that it's extraordinarily difficult to do so. And then you've got the labor cost that goes into that as well. And these are all things that are struggles for medium-sized companies that they have to deal with, and they have to deal with a corporate loan structure. And I'm telling you, when you throw fuel costs in the mix, that throws everything on its head. That's exactly what's going on. And you're not going to repatriate everything overnight. You're not going to rebuild our economy overnight. You're not going to rebuild the fuel industry overnight. And had they just focused on that, I think we would be sitting substantially better going into the midterms.
Right.
But they couldn't, and they haven't delivered. I mean, it was like CPAC. And I don't want to go, too off track, but this is definitely tied into it. CPAC. CPAC was huge just a year ago, even a year ago, man. It was gigantic. And then, you've got thousands of people there. You see it this year, it's pitiful. I mean,
Oh yeah.
I've had field parties that had more people than that in it.
Whenever you break out Blackstone out, you probably got that many people or more.
Yeah. I mean, damn, man, you look around and like, dude, I just saw the picture. I have no desire going to CPAC anyway, but you see it and you're like, dude, really? This is the best they can muster? All the energy's out. And,
it's gone.
And it's because what Trump ran on didn't happen. And people, going back to what I was talking about with general strain theory, is that people in the blue collar world who go to the grocery store and they're pricing out the cost of everything. They're the people who drive past one gas station, get to another because it's 1 penny cheaper.
Right.
I've been that guy. That guy. Hey, I'm going to that gas station. It's 1 penny cheaper, and I think about that, man, and I don't have to live like that now, but that being poor taught me a lot of lessons, as a young man.
You have to learn it. It. That's it. When you poor, you have to learn it.
and that's the thing is that they're not taking that into account.
No,
they're not taking that into account. And when you're talking $6 a gallon for diesel, shipping comes to a halt. It's come to a halt.
Everything, trucking industry. This has affected, all these goods. I mean, I worked hand in hand with not only just the ports here on the East Coast. I mean, the Port of South Carolina, South Carolina Port Authority, Wilmington, the Port of Savannah, Port of Charleston. I was down there working with all these with their equipment, as well as all of the inland, because I handled a lot of intermodal chassis, all the redistribution centers and stuff. And man, you start seeing the price of fuel go up, you're going to see all that product go up. And it's getting ridiculous. We're already starting to see it, and it's going to only get worse. We had a couple questions over here, and we're running long. If you're okay with it, cool. If you're okay with this here, I know you. But I had this one here. Let's see here. Mr. Guy, Brush Beater, what's your opinion on sleeper cells being active here in the USA? Maybe that's some of the stuff we're seeing. Maybe, oil refineries blowing up. I don't know. It's hard telling. What's your take on it?
Well, do I think that there are Iranians in the U.S. that mean to do us harm? Yes, absolutely. Without a doubt. I know for a fact that there are. We haven't seen it happen. And, in American culture, we're very used to basically the 60-minute crime drama is what I used to call it, where, we see event, reaction, and then conclusion, right, in that hour-long block. It doesn't really work that way. Just because you've seen action doesn't mean you've seen reaction yet. But I will say this, that just because we know that there is a threat out there doesn't mean, first of all, that certain entities won't take advantage of that fear, because they absolutely are. They absolutely are. And don't give yourself the fear, especially unfounded fear. Second thing is that also be real careful when you see an event happen. Don't be so quick to ascribe blame to it, because things usually aren't what they appear to be at face value. And, and I'm not running around screaming, everything's a false flag, because I don't do that.
Right.
But I do have a healthy skepticism when you look at the overall negative political consequences that are coming out of this thing, and you need to gin up your base. And I don't remember where I saw it, but somebody said the jingoists ain't jingoing this time. And I thought that was a really good way of putting it. You ain't hearing the Toby Keiths and the, courtesy of the red, white, blue. Like, you're not, Toby Keith.
Ain't a lot of it.
So okay. But I wasn't a big Toby Keith fan.
I think, it's like anything. They've got, there's some other agendas there. No, we definitely, the patriotic, that patriotic feeling is just not quite as strong. You're not seeing it as much. And Trump, I mean, let's just be honest, man. He's let a lot of people down, me included, which he hasn't really let me down a lot, because I expected it. I feel like anybody that's in that office moving forward was meant to be there. And maybe I'm wrong, but that's just where I'm at with it.
I'm going to throw something else out there. Just a little food for thought for everybody. Do the sleeper cells even need to activate? Do they need to do anything any worse than what's already been done? As I saw somebody talking about foreign truck drivers. There was Mark talking about it in the comments. Foreign truck drivers are killing people left and right.
Dude, I threw out
you got some, dude with the shahada across the back of his truck, Singali, Bengali, whatever the fuck, pulling a U-turn and killing, everybody on the highway.
Well, that was just a few months ago. The
CDL, I mean, if let's say all these sleeper cells, quote unquote, went live tomorrow, would it be any different? Would it be any different than the damn troons that are all jacked up on SSRIs and told that, Orange Man bad and you got to kill all the conservatives and, run up in a church and shoot all the kids? Would it be any different? Because I don't think it'd be any different.
It ain't much different. And I will tell you, I remember just a couple months ago, getting that article from NC DOT, Department of Transportation in North Carolina. Remember, it was 50% of the licenses were the CDLs were given. They shouldn't have been. They were pulling them, and so 50% of the drivers just out of North Carolina weren't supposed to have a CDL license given to foreigners, illegals. They were all illegals. And I was like, good night, man. That's scary. That's only, 89,000 pounds rolling down the highway and they can't read the sign, God forbid. But I know there was a couple other, we'll just get through them. I know one of our gentlemen asked if there was going to be comms classes at Mountain Readiness. And then we had another talking about how long you've been in bushcraft. Let's talk about that, what we got going on at Mountain Readiness.
So, no, I'm not teaching a commo class there.
No.
Battle Dwarf is teaching one there. I didn't want to step on his toes. He's going to be teaching one. But I will be there. I have a lot of stuff there. So, you want to drop by, ask some questions. That's cool. We're going to be doing night vision demo. We're going to be doing thermal demo. We're going to be having time. So...
night vision and thermal fundamentals, and then we're still going to do the night drive, y'all. If you want to get
drive around at night under nods
in the middle of the dark, that's going to be an awesome time. Right. Man, I appreciate you coming on here, dude. Like for real. And I was glad I finally got I'm gonna tell you, man, these chickens been wearing me out. Wearing me out. I need some of that Virginia stuff you had. That's what I need. Go for hours then.
Now, darling, we shall seek our entertainment elsewhere.
Oh man. Bring that along in May. Bring that along in May. And if you do a brisket again, man, holler at me because I didn't get nothing. Just smelled it. I got to smell it.
The brisket?
No, it was gone. I come over there after working and setting up tents and emptying the trash, and there was like some cut off burnt ends just laying there. I nibbled on one of them just to get a little bit of the flavor. That was it.
Well, hell, was it good though?
It was for burnt. It was better than most brisket. It was that was fire. That was fire. Anything that comes out of the brush beater camp is worth sampling. Just saying.
Barbecue.
Oh yeah.
Barbecue. It's all right.
That stuff was killer. But if you do another one, just throw a little sliver aside. Throw a little sliver aside.
So that's all right. What I'm gonna do is keep it a secret. Because I told him, I said, actually, it was Wes. I told Wes, he's the one that's screwed. I'm gonna throw him under the bus. So Wesley Hightower. I told him, I said, Wes, go get tea because it's ready. And he said, yeah, I'll go get him.
Nah.
Damn. He ate 2 sandwiches though. And
I believe that.
And if I remember right, he said, yeah, I'm gonna go get him. I'm gonna get some and take it to him.
Take it to him. Yeah. He probably did. He took that big sample, and while he was walking to find me, he was just eating it. He ate it as he went around trying to. Oh man, it's gone now.
Mount Olive, bread and butter pickles on the top too, and walked away. That's what he did.
Now here's somebody else though. Here is Tom. Now, whenever Tom's around, you and Tom, man, you guys are you guys keep me alive now. Like between you and Tom, that's how I eat. I wouldn't eat if it wasn't for you two guys when it comes to these events. So it's that there. You guys keep me moving. So
man, you were there for the breakfast though. You were.
I was. I caught some of the breakfast. That's right. So that made up for it. That made up for it almost. But brisket is as good as it gets. Like when I go out for barbecue. If they don't serve brisket, then they ain't a barbecue shack. Just what it is. You got to be able to do brisket. Brisket's where it's at. That's number one. Number one on the barbecue menu. Got to be brisket. If you can't do it, and you know as well as I do, doing a good brisket, that's like finding good people. It's hard to come by.
It is. I will say that doing a good pork shoulder is harder than doing a good brisket.
No kidding. All right.
Because pork dries out. Pork will dry out on you. You got to be real careful. Brisket, you can bring back a brisket if it gets a little scorched on the outside or whatever. You can work around that. But pork, no.
Once it's done, it's done.
Yeah,
that's it.
If it dries out, it ain't.
Well, I ain't gonna argue it because you are the man on the smoker and the grill. That is a fact. So anything I say is null and void.
Look at that good brisket recipes. Brisket on Reddit, I heard.
Oh man, I'm not even trying it.
That's
no,
a lie. I'm gonna tell you why it's a lie. Is they don't eat meat on Reddit.
That's right.
They do eat meat, but it's
sure like the bone. At least that's what that's what the song said. Man, we got our brother Alan K in the house. Best chorizo ever. What is going on, brother? The man, the myth, Mr. Alan K, like a ninja in the night, man. He is as good. Top dog right there. I'll be talking to you tomorrow too, Alan. So leave everybody with something, man, with the way the world is and all the craziness. I mean, what do we have in store? We got the gas, the fuel prices going up. You're saying shortages for the everyday guy who ain't really done nothing. Like, let's just say we're like, man, maybe I have screwed around too long. I need to get my shit in order. Like, what do people really need to start paying attention to?
Go grab a few extra cans of food every time you go to the grocery store. Just, whatever it is, calorie dense foods that are canned. And, and the thing is that canned food doesn't ever really expire. It's got an expiration date on it. As long as it's not a pop top. Pop tops you do need to adhere to the expiration on those. But if it's a sealed can, buy some extra canned food. Every time you go grocery store, Dollar General, wherever this got canned food, pick up a couple extra cans. It ain't got to be a lot. It ain't, you ain't gonna buy your way to, a year's worth of food and all that in a day. If you can, great. But if most of us can't, but buy a few extra cans of food. Beans. There's a reason rice and beans are a staple food in most of the world. Rice and beans are a staple food. I mean, I sound like Dave Ramsey over here. Rice and beans,
rice and beans.
But I mean, you can go to your grocery store, get a big old bag of white beans, big old bag of lentils, and a 5-pound sack or larger, if you can get it, of rice, and throw that over in the cart. And you're not spending a ton of money on that.
No.
And here's the thing is those three foods, by the way, they're not canned, but just in a bag. Those three foods really never go bad. They just get harder and harder over time. As long as you keep them away from rodents, you're fine. Because beans, if they get hard on you, you just soak them longer. And
soak them.
And they're good. But yeah, do that. That's the biggest thing that you can do right now. All of this, like people will tell you, everybody's grifting out there trying to make a buck or whatever. I mean, yes, I run a store. Yes, we sell survival supplies and food and all that stuff. Right. But I'm going to be up front again, going back to what we talked about at the beginning of the show, as real as it gets. Look, man, some of that stuff is really expensive. I know I had to buy it to be able to sell it because we actually have it here. I know how expensive it is. And look, if you can afford that stuff, cool, by all means. But you also should be that those foods are for. They're really. I'll tell you this. I know, we're running long and you kind of want to wrap it up. But
no, man, we're good
out there. Like the freeze dried meals and everything. Those are really comfort foods, man. That's like, dude, I'm so damn sick of eating rice and beans. I just can't take it anymore. And I'm going to eat this meal over here that's actually tastes like something real. That's what those are. But the rice and beans, they last a long doggone time. They're cheap. It's inexpensive. And there you go. If you do have some space, and I don't mean acreage, but I mean some space, grow some stuff. Get some seeds, grow some stuff. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. Mark's in the comments again. My brother from another mother. Spices last a long time, and you can grow your own rosemary and thyme, and and
absolutely
and stuff. But last thing on that is I want to share a name and a book with people that probably doesn't come up very often these days, and it's called Community Power, and it's by a name that some old timers would know, but a lot of people, contemporary people, wouldn't. His name is Carl Hess. Carl Hess starts with a K, Karlhess, and Community Power. And Community Power, you could probably find it for free. I know you can find it on eBay. It was like a little pamphlet, shouldn't cost a lot of money. Take you about an hour to read through it. But Carl Hess was a speechwriter for Richard Nixon, and then became a. Let me tell you how important this guy was, and how big the government, or how big of a deal he was to enemies in the government. They put the IRS and the U.S. government put 100% tax lien on every dime this man would ever make in his life. That's how big of a threat he was. He was.
That's when you know you messed up.
Oh yeah, yeah. He was a speechwriter for Nixon, and then he did some other interesting stuff. He was kind of hanging out with some lefties for a little while, and he got real big in the libertarian movement. And I've been a very long time admirer of Carl Hess. And Community Power was him talking about and just writing a quick journal about how they went into inner city New York and created a self-sufficient garden on rooftops and windowsills in the ghetto. I mean, it's one of those things that I know probably not a lot of people would read, but that experience is really important nonetheless.
Yeah.
Because here's a guy who can't report a dime of his income, or they're going to take it from him. And,
that's bad.
and he's going to places that, traditionally underserved communities, very impoverished communities, and doing some good stuff. And that book was really impactful for me when I read it, and read it very quickly, and I've referenced it many more times since. And I always thought that was really cool. And for the budding survivalist prepper that's out there, that's what if you ain't got a lot of money, and most of us don't, that book's got a lot of really good lessons in it.
I know I've heard of this book, and I may have even read it at one time, but I need to check it out again. I would say, Tress 1776 talking about a freeze dryer. Look, y'all, if you can get a freeze dryer, absolutely, man. If you can afford it, because I'm going to tell you, dude. And if you've got one and it's not running, you need to be changing oil out in that sucker nonstop. Pump as much through there as possible. But for all y'all that can't afford one, because they are expensive, I've spent a lot of money on these freeze dryers I've got. Before that, people talk about, freeze dryers are healthy. Absolutely. 98% of the nutrients, the whole bit. But if you're starving, do you really care? No, you don't. So beans, rice, just like you said, beans, rice, peanut butter. But peanut butter got hydrogenated oils. You know what's worse than hydrogenated oils? Dying. Starving to death. That's way worse. That's way worse.
Choose you want to die. You want to die a month from now, or
so if you can,
about 90 days from now. But or do you, and very painfully, by the way, or do you want to die maybe 3 months before you would die anyway from some other shit you did?
There is that.
Drinking beer.
I like to stick around as long as I possibly can. I will tell you guys, if you don't have the cash, and it's hard to come by, man, you can go to Walmart, you can go to a couple of Subway shops, and you can ask them for their food grade 5-gallon buckets, and 9 times out of 10 they will give them to you for free. You just got to wash them out. Buy all that rice and beans, and then take it and throw it in your freezer for 2 weeks. Kills all them little weevils and bugs and all that kind of stuff. And then throw that in those buckets after you clean them and dry them out real good. Throw you a couple oxygen absorbers in there and smack the lid on there. Now you got food for quite a few years.
Any bakery shop will have the icing buckets. Those are the ones you want. They're free. They are food grade. Get those if you want them in smaller denominations. The other thing too is oxygen absorbers. You can get them real cheap, brand new. You can reuse those, by the way, if you just throw them in the oven. on a tray for
Shoot, yes.
10, 15 minutes. You can turn around and reuse them.
Yeah, as long as you don't leave them out on the table overnight. We actually have, look here, guys, if you can get mason jars, like mason jars are pretty easy to come by still. It's not like they're, unless it's cannon season, and then most everybody sells out. But grab you mason jars. They have that. You got one of them little vacuum sealer things that you stick on the top. You know what I'm talking about? Things like $20. And I'll go pick a bunch of the wild mint. I got wild mint. I got herbs growing all over the place, man. I dry it out. Throw it in that jar, throw an oxygen absorber in there, and put the little vacuum sealer and sucks that lid down. I've got stuff in there sitting for over a year, still good, just from being dried out in the sun. And there you go. There's stuff sitting on the shelf. Didn't cost you nothing. And I will say this, my partner, Billy Bond with Permapastures Farms. I can't talk enough about that guy. Him and his son, William, are top-notch permaculturists. They've studied under Jeff Lawton over in Australia. Of course, Daniel Salatin. They've been all over the place doing permaculture. And, Billy, people that live in the cities, they're like, oh, man, I live in the big city. I can't, how am I supposed to grow food? He literally took seeds. He was doing rogue gardens in the inner cities, just planting stuff in all the parks. And he literally had vegetable gardens and fruit trees and all kinds of stuff growing in the inner city parks. Nobody even knew it was there. Nobody even knew it was food. He would just go in there and harvest food right out of the park. So if you guys live in the parks, man, seeds are cheap. Seeds are cheap right now. Go plant you some stuff in the park in the bush over there, and don't tell anybody about it. It's right there. It's free food just sitting there waiting on you.
Yeah.
So
and I would say too, Peterson's guides. That's another one. Peterson's guides on edible plants.
Nice. Yes. Yeah, and that's something that's overlooked way too much. All the food that's just growing everywhere that's called weeds. Get to know those wild edibles, that's for sure. I have found so much just walking around the property here. I didn't know, I've got all my I got wild chicory growing all up here. I was like, well, if I can't get coffee, I got something that tastes pretty close. I mean, it's close to tasting the same. Not the same, but it's close. Not as good as that coffee that you got at the shop, of course.
No,
so,
chicory is an acquired taste.
It's hardcore.
Agents off in the comments. They're watching. What do you mean?
Like chicory? Yeah, that's where it is.
Go on to chicory.
Yeah, it'd be like, hey man, he said chicory is good coffee substitute. Now if the world's ended, let me try. People be cussing my name for years. Like, this is the most horrible shit I've ever drank in my life.
Best thing you can do with chicory when you pull it up, chicory root, clean the dirt off of it, rinse it off, rub it out and actually chew on it.
No kidding.
It's a strong taste, but you're gonna get one hell of a caffeine buzz.
I'll give it a try. I've got some sitting on the porch right now that I dried out.
And dandelion.
Oh yeah,
right now is everywhere. Dandelion is nature's gift in the South.
From the top down,
so much.
Yes, and plantain, the wheat, man. Yeah, I mean, it's got some topical uses. Well, we're probably going to get banned now because we're talking about what you can use it for. We won't say what you can use it for, but it's all over your yard. I guarantee you, if you have grass, you have plantain, and you have dandelion, unless you're just hosing it down with chemicals, which shame on you. You're messing up. Don't do that. That stuff right there, man, you can live off of dandelion greens and root and the flowers, even the flowers. Have you ever done the stir fry thing with the flowers?
Oh yeah.
Oh, it tastes great.
Yeah.
The root, however, it's an acquired taste, but,
so in the comments, Amy B said, Yupon Holly was the only indigenous source of caffeine in the U.S. That's true. That is true. Chicory is not native to North America. It was
no, I didn't know that.
Yes, it was brought here. Chicory was brought here by the French.
I did not
And
know that. I thought
spread.
that was here.
No, chicory is a that's the reason, like, if you go to New Orleans and you go down to Cafe du Monde, and Cafe du
Mhm.
Monde has they're known for their coffee, because you can get their coffee, online. It's really popular in a lot of places, but it's coffee and chicory, and it has a very unique flavor to it. Because it's chicory, and they do it right. It's good, even out of the can, the yellow can of coffee and chicory. It's pretty tasty. Because straight chicory coffee is a little. If you don't know what you're getting,
It's stout. It's stout.
Yeah, it can be a little strong flavor, but Cafe du Monde has just world class coffee down there, and that's kind of what they're known for. But that's the French brought that in and planted it in a lot of places, and then it spread. And it was a traditional French thing, and it's not native to North America originally. Most people think that it is now because it grows wild in a lot of places, but no. It's just like a lot of other things, like mesquite wood, mesquite grown all over Texas. Mesquite's not native to Texas. It was brought by Spain, and they brought it because it's got those huge doggone thorns on it.
Oh yeah,
it grows really fast, and it's basically a hedge type tree, and they planted that and cedar as a barrier. And it was a barrier, again, a physical barrier to limit, how the Comanche could impact their good growing areas, which were down in Mexico. That's why they grew it all across Texas.
See, man, he ain't just a pretty beard. There's a lot of knowledge in that melon.
Yeah, man. I'm a wealth of useless knowledge.
Oh no, it ain't no such thing. You are a plethora of knowledge is what it is. That's what you are. But it's been a blast, man. I always enjoy these, and I always learn something every time. And I finally got to take one of your classes. It's only been like a few years. Got out there for the RTO class. Couldn't stay for the advanced RTO, but I made it the 3 days. It was awesome. Learned a ton. And it's one of them classes, like, I love your classes because you can, it's one of those, like, I know I go to that class again, I learn something else. Like, you just keep, it doesn't matter how many times I would take that class, I guarantee I would learn something else. So it's a win-win. It's the class that keeps on giving.
Yeah.
So all them. So guys, and of course, Mountain Readiness, our sponsor here, Mr. NC Scout, will be there. We're going to be teaching. We're all going to be hanging out. He's going to be grilling. He's not going to grill brisket. Just saying that. Just y'all don't even go over there looking for brisket. He's going to keep that on low down. And we're a month out, so grab your ticket. We're going to be doing tons of hands-on classes. Also, scan that QR code right there and take you to Brush Beater Store. Of course, Matt has everything from classes to gear to comm stuff, his own line of optics, Kyber optics, which I just bought one of the red dots. It's freaking phenomenal, literally bulletproof. You can beat that thing like it owes you money, and it's going to hold up, which we did at CanCon, which also is coming up after Mountain Readiness. We will both be there, Mountain Readiness and Kyber Optics. So make sure to go to this. You can hang out with us again. The party just never ends.
We're going to be there. Back to back.
We're going to be there. Back to back to back. So appreciate you, brother. Thanks for all you do for everyone. Thanks for hanging out with us here. And like I said again, man, thanks for being real.
Hey, man. I ain't no other way to be, brother.
That's it. That's it. Well, hey, y'all know the drill. Stay safe, stay ready. I give a big thanks to my wife too. She made this is my goat cracker. That's my goat cracker. She said, "Goat Dad." I got my goat dag shirt. She said, "You won't wear this shirt. It's a joke." I said, "Man, I'll wear that because I like it. I like my goat dad shirt." So he's got his bling on and stuff, got his glasses, got his hat sideways and stuff. I was like, man, people are gonna look at that and go, you never even know, it could catch on. Next thing you know, bam, I blow up with that stuff. But appreciate you, brother, and we'll see you in a few weeks. Y'all, go ahead and roll us out of here, Russ. Everybody, thanks for joining us tonight. We'll see you next Monday.